Hey all, welcome to ShareTreck. This is Raj here. Friends, US stock futures are looking a bit red this morning as investors continue to digest the sharp tech sector sell-off that we witnessed recently. There are major M&A headlines and also key earnings releases are awaited. There is still a lot of volatility driven by ongoing concerns with AI valuations and also continued government data blackout. That's the way I would term that because a lot of data has been delayed. Now, all the indices, as I mentioned earlier, are red, but it's worthwhile noting that even despite all this, Nasdaq is still up 23.3% year to date. US government shutdown has delayed key economic data. September construction spending is due today, but September jobs and other macro releases remain postponed. So in the absence of all this data, investors have got to figure out what the valuation looks like and what's the right thing to do. Wall Street bonuses are expected to reach 4-year highs for traders and bankers, driven by surging deal volumes and volatility. They're going to have a great Christmas. And there is the M&A news of Kimberly-Clark, which has agreed to acquire Johnson & Johnson spin-off Kenvue, the home of Tylenol, Band-Aid, and other iconic brands, for $48.7 billion, sending KMB shares down 14% and KView up 20% in pre-market action. Now, Ozempic maker Novo Nordisk has cut its growth outlook for weight loss drugs on pricing pressures impacting pharma and biotech sentiment. I think the weight loss sector is going to face a lot of competition and therefore the pricing is most likely to come down. It's going to be more of a volumes game than margins game going forward. At least that's my opinion, and I'd like to hear from you guys what you think about it. The key reports scheduled today include McDonald's, Novo Nordisk, Unity, Suncor, Qualcomm, Lucid, IonQ, AMC, Robinhood, ARM Holdings, AppLovin, DoorDash. So those are all the companies that I could see which are reporting today. Hi Hot Dog, thanks for joining. Good evening to you. Now, Uber has bet on Q3 results, but its shares fell as investors sought stronger guidance. AMD earnings and AI contracts in focus after the bell, but we saw AMD falling yesterday in the after hours. So I'm thinking that most of the investors are worried about valuation. They are not very sure. So there is going to be a bit of volatility. Now, if you look at the sector and sentiment, I would say that tech valuation worries remain high after Palantir's sharp drop yesterday, and chip sector is very volatile. Investors are watching for steady guidance from Qualcomm and ARM. Now, if that happens, there could be a little bit of stability. Bank of America sees further strength this November in technology, consumer discretionary, healthcare, and industrial sector, while analysts are urging caution given the recent volatility. Now, you guys know me. I have been talking about downward reversal of the market or bearishness for almost 3 months now. I have been ahead of the curve, pretty ahead. In fact, it hurts very badly. But maybe we have finally turned the corner and we have come to the point where the market correction is going to bring it to the proper levels. So let's go and have a look at the TradingView platform and see where the market is this morning and if we can see any trends. So here we are in our TradingView platform, and I'm looking at the futures, S&P 500 futures. And we are at a very critical point today with the S&P 500 futures. We are down 0.17% in pre-market trade for S&P 500 futures, and we are below this line of support from yesterday, which has now become a resistance, and it has got confirmed as a resistance. It will get confirmed as a resistance if we close below 6,787.75. So that's one of the important things that we need to watch. And for today, our support is going to be 6,774, and we have already gone below that and we're pushed back up again. When the market opens, we want to see if this negative market sentiment and the bearish MACD and the just above average momentum is going to be strong enough to push it below the bottom of this parallel channel, which has been coming with us all the way from 25th of June 2025 onwards. So it's a pretty strong channel. But I would also like to tell you another theory which I picked up elsewhere. As a retail investor, I have been watching a whole lot of technical analysis channel. There is this concept that if you have multiple touchdowns on a line of support, then after the fourth touchdown, the probability of going down and breaking below the support becomes much higher than the probability of staying above it. So out here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 touchdowns already. So anytime after 4, you have more than 50% probability of breaking down below the support. So I'm thinking that the chances of us breaking down today below this line of support is pretty high. And that's the probability I'm saying. It's almost 80% probable, I suppose, that we would break down. And when we look at NASDAQ, we can see that we still have this horizontal line of support, which is going to provide some support to the pricing. And if I look at this wick that has come out, I don't know if you can see it in your smaller screens. I'm just going to recalibrate the chart. Now there is a long wick out here for today. This is the NASDAQ futures we are talking about. It's got a long wick, and that wick is nicely just at around 25,276, which is the bottom of this green candle that you see here. So that has been the intermediate support, but I think ultimately the support will come here, where we have 1, 2, 3, at least 3 candles which are being resisted, and 1, 2 candles which have been supported. So this is a stronger line. So I think our support today is 25,202.50 for NASDAQ. NASDAQ is much better than S&P 500 right now, but also NASDAQ I think is more vulnerable than S&P 500 because all the AI tech heavyweights will be in here. So the fall can be drastic. Now dollar index is giving up a little bit of its gains and consolidating. Consolidation is always good, and we'll see what happens from there. But VIX has escalated another 2.42%, and we are still below yesterday's opening, but we are above yesterday's close. So when we look at a red candle, the top is the opening and the bottom is the close. So we opened much higher yesterday and we came down and closed at 18.95, but right now we are at 19.45. That is above yesterday's close. That's why we have a green candle, and that's why we have a positive 2.42. But the test would be for us to close above yesterday's open of 19.77. That would mean that VIX is going to keep on going up. If that doesn't happen, we are going to come back and test this support. Gold is up 1.02%, and I think gold will consolidate a little bit more. It has not yet confirmed above this support. For it to confirm above this support, I think it will have to have another candle tomorrow, and that candle will have to close above today's candle. That's the way I look at gold. So there will be plenty of opportunities to buy. As I mentioned, I already bought a little bit of gold, but I'll be buying more going forward, dollar cost averaging my way into it. Now put call ratio is looking a little bit bearish, little less bullish than it was before, and it is mildly bullish to neutral, I would say. And let us go on to look at AI. We'll look at NVDA, which is down 0.60% in pre-market trades. And our market sentiment is still bullish. And as you can see here, we have to adjust this line. I'm going to adjust this slightly. So we still have the bearish divergence. Hello to the new person joining. Hello. 8765. So we have this bearish divergence still in play, and we are seeing the stock respond to the bearish divergence, and we'll have to watch where it goes, because market sentiment is still bullish even though it is declining a little bit, and MACD is also bullish even though it's moving towards the signal line. So the trend seems to indicate that we are going further down, but I do not see any bearish patterns forming out here. So I would wait to see some bearish pattern or a bullish pattern form out here before I draw any conclusions on which side it's going to go. Meta is up 0.22%, and Meta is still, I think, in a very bearish mode. I'm going to convert this line of support into a line of resistance, and this line of resistance is at 651.5 637.45. Our resistance today is going to start at 637.62, which will be the first resistance. As you can see, we opened much higher and then we came down yesterday. And for today, we are already down here, just slightly above where we closed yesterday. That's why you're seeing the little bit of positive out here, 0.21. But I want to see what happens when the market opens, mainly because we have a very negative market sentiment, extremely bearish MACD, and momentum is at the rock bottom. And friends, what happens when you have this kind of situation? You have a dead cat bounce. So probably today we could have a dead cat bounce. So maybe the first half of the day, we may try to crawl upwards and then we'll start probably coming back down again, because there is a lot of fundamental issues which have to be resolved. Now let's look at Google, which is up 0.16% in pre-market trades. And yesterday we had a lot of pressure to go up, but we were pushed down. But the fact remained that we opened lower and we have a green candle. So this was a little bit of demonstration of support for the stock. And today we are opening just slightly above where we closed yesterday. So that's again a very good sign. But I'm not yet seeing anything major coming out. I was thinking that this is a bull flag in formation. And if this is the flagpole, we are already below 50% of the flagpole. So my principle is that if you have bull flag and the flag actually comes to less than 50% of the flagpole, then it's no longer a bull flag. So we have to watch for new patterns emerging out here, either bullish or bearish. At this point of time, we can see that the bullishness is waning, but the stock is still very strong. Amazon is down 0.30% in pre-market trades. It has closed below, it has opened below yesterday's close, and we will have an immediate support at around 244.12. I'm not saying that we are going to drop as much today, but the possibility is still there that we may test the support at 242.02. Apple is up 0.07% in pre-market trades. We have a support at 264.80, and failing which, we'll have a support today at around 264.03. Now, if you look at Microsoft is down 0.21% in pre-market trade. It has not been able to break above this line of resistance, and the trick for today, or the test for today, is going to be, are we going to be able to confirm this resistance, or are we not going to be able to confirm the resistance? If we confirm the resistance, then we are going to be pushed back when we go to hit this again and again until we become weak, we weaken the resistance enough so that we can break out above that. So in order for us to confirm this resistance, I think we will have to close below 508.00. If we do that, then I think we would have confirmed this resistance. So let's watch what happens. All other aspects like MACD, market sentiment, and momentum are all negative for Microsoft. Tesla is up 1.16%. With Tesla, I don't know what to say. I've burnt my fingers many times. I don't know what could happen for Tesla. But what I definitely see is a double top, which is waiting to be triggered on this green line. So if we come back down here, then I can talk about it. But right now, I have nothing to say about Tesla. Now let's go on to Oracle. Oracle is down 0.79%. It is moving around this diagonal line of support. So I would expect that today it's likely to come back and test the resistance at 248.15. Everything is extremely bearish for Oracle, so there is a potential for a dead cat bounce. If you look at AMD, it's down 3.18% in pre-market trades. It will continue to get a support at 236.82, which also happens to be a little bit of a gap fill. Of course, we have a wick out here, but we did a gap up after that. So I would be considering the wick of this green candle out here to be the bottom of the gap, and the wick of this green candle up here to be the top of the gap. So we have this gap fill to be completed, and I think today's order of business is to complete this gap. So I would say that we have a support at 237.01 for AMD. SMCI is down 7.62%. It's a huge drop. And if we close anywhere below 46.85, then we are confirming the resistance out here at 47.70. For today, our support is going to be 42.75. Everything for this stock is bearish at this point of time. Broadcom is down. Broadcom is up 0.30% in pre-market trade. This is a welcome news, but we are in a bearish trajectory, and our support for today is going to be 349.39. Palantir is down 1.89% in pre-market trades. And we have resistance out here at, let me mark this red first. The resistance is going to be 189.49 for today. And our support is going to be at 184.64. Pre-market, we are at 187.17. Now, if you look at SMH, I bet SMH is feeling the pain, and SMH is below yesterday's closing. So I think SMH is down 0.23% in pre-market trades, and it's going to get a little bit of a support in this gap up area. I think it will get a support at 344.63 for today. That's going to be the support for SMH. And where SMH moves, the index will move. So this is the basis for the weakness of the overall index. Tempus AI is down 3.89%. And if I look at the line of support here for today, it's at 81.18, and we are exactly at 81.18 in the pre-market session. So I'm going to leave this line of support as it is. I don't want to jinx this. Yesterday we opened much higher, and then we tried to go up, then we were pushed back down, and we closed down. This is a kind of a candle which shows that selling pressure is very high, and therefore I'm thinking that today, given that we are gapping down so much, we would probably have a wick like this, and then we may end up closing below this line of support. I don't know for sure, but that's what it seems like. I just want to look at Celsius Holdings. Morbid curiosity out here. Celsius Holdings tried to stage a comeback yesterday, and today it's going to double down on the comeback because it's right now above yesterday's closing. The closing was higher than the opening, therefore we have a green candle, but at the same time it did not manage to close above the previous day's opening, and therefore I think that if today we were somehow able to close above somewhere around 59.82, that will be a good positive step for this stock, and it will continue to get strong resistance at 59.60, which happens to be this red line out here. Now I would like to go next to our genomic stocks. Let us go to the genomics very quickly. Prime is up 0.93% in pre-market trades, and we have resistance today at 4.47 for Prime, and we have support at around 3.89 for Prime. Overall, if you see, the market sentiment is bearish, MACD is bearish, and also momentum is below average and dropping. We have earnings coming out tomorrow. I don't know if it is pre-market or post-market, and whether it will really come tomorrow, because in genomics, most of these stocks that we have in our watch list have very dubious earnings dates, and it's unpredictable. But if it comes tomorrow, then I think if we see any catalyst out there, we could have either positive or negative moves. But right now, the way it is situated, the stock is very bearish. Intelia is up 2.38% in pre-market trades. We don't have any clear trends out here at this point of time. But if I was to hazard a guess, I would say that if we look at the consolidation that is happening out here, the stock is trying to somehow arrest the drop. And for today, it's trying to open slightly above where it opened yesterday. And if it succeeds in doing that, then I think that will be a positive. But right now, it is still below yesterday's open. The only reason why we see a positive 2.38 is because it closed way below where it is right now. And it's a red candle. So remember, opening was on the top and closing was on the bottom. So we are above the closing, but we are still above the opening. So unless we open above the opening, I would say that we are still bearish today, because all other indicators are bearish. Again, earnings are due on the 6th of November. Let us see if we get any catalyst. Caribou Biosciences is up 2.76%. I'm not very optimistic about Caribou Biosciences. Overall, it is bearish. I still have Caribou Biosciences in my portfolio, and it is still negative. I'm holding on to it. It's not too much of an investment. Beam Therapeutics is up 0.92% in pre-market trades. Again, boy, it looks very bearish to me. All aspects are bearish. Now, Altimmune is up 1.33% in pre-market trades, and they are due for an earnings report on the 6th of November. After this sharp drop, I'm thinking that maybe the earnings has got something bad in it. So let us see what happens in the earnings. If things don't turn out to be that bad, maybe this is the buy the rumor, sell the news kind of a situation, but in the reverse, so that after the earnings, there will be a sigh of relief and there's a pickup in the stock price. I don't know, but right now market sentiment, though bullish, is starting to wane towards neutral. MACD is very bearish and momentum has dropped significantly. So I think it's the earnings jitters that we are looking at. Editas is up 0.36%, but overall very bearish. And if we look at Illumina is up 0.36% in pre-market trades. As long as it is within this green candle, I'm happy. We are looking at a bull flag forming or a bullish pennant forming. That's the way I'm looking at it. All the indicators for Illumina is looking pretty good. I'm bullish on Illumina and PACB and CRISPR and Grail. These are the 4 stocks I think I'm positive about in our watch list. For everything else, I'm a little bit dubious. CRISPR Therapeutics is up 0.76% in pre-market trades, so it's looking pretty good. Right now, slightly better than it was. We had a target of 55.64, and Hot Dog is saying Casgevy sales disappointed this quarter. So we will probably see that reflected when we have earnings from CRISPR, but then CRISPR will probably have some good news about one of its therapies, or it may probably have good news about its earnings. So it could temper it a little bit. And yeah, I think I'd like to have a look at the Casgevy sales number and probably do a video as soon as possible for CRISPR. So we have a target of 55.64 for CRISPR Therapeutics, and I think we came as close to actually we went below that. We went to 55.96, so we already met this target for the reverse head and shoulder. So this bearish sign is a sign of the past, so I'm just going to dispense with it because it's no longer in effect. It's been taken care of. It has yielded its results. Now we are bouncing back on our way up. So I would like to draw a line of support out here. I'm going to find the nearest line of support, and I would say this is going to be our line of support. I'll stake the claim out here, and we are supposed to bounce off this line of support, and we'll have resistance today at around 61.27. That said, let us go on to Allogene. Allogene is up 2.25% in pre-market trades, and they are expected to post a loss of 22 cents a share, according to a news release out here. And we have their earnings coming up on 6th of November after hours. So let us see what Allogene has to say. Right now, despite the selling pressure, there's a lot of purchasing. So yesterday's candle, if you see, it went all the way down to $1.05 and got pushed up. So there's a long wick on the bottom. When there's a long wick on the bottom, I would say that there's a lot of buying pressure out here. It's a lot of positive sentiment for Allogene in the market, even though we are seeing a negative sentiment out here. But in yesterday's instance, there were a lot of people willing to buy Allogene and give it the benefit of doubt. So let's see what happens until the earnings comes up. It's going to be volatile, and it's looking bearish to me from the charts. Grail is up 1.02%, and the trick for Grail would be to close above 86.01. Can it do that today? I don't know. And at this point of time, if I look at the market sentiment, it's bullish, but it is diminishing. MACD is wildly bearish, and also momentum is moving towards the average. So things are not looking that great for Grail, but I'm thinking that Grail can make revenue, and like Illumina and PACB, it should be the best candidate to stay in the positive among our genomic stocks. If you look at PACB, it's up 7.50%, and if it could close about 2.18, then that will be another positive step for PACB. Now PACB has got a bullish market sentiment. MACD is also bullish. Momentum is above average. We have the moment of truth coming. There is going to be earnings after hours today. So we'll see what happens with the earnings. If they come up with decent numbers, like the EPS estimated is minus 0.15. So if they have a better EPS than this, and if their revenue is better than 40.1 million, I think they should do well. So I don't know what's going to happen in their earnings. So let's wait and watch what happens in this space. ARCG is down 0.71%. It is definitely looking bearish, and I can definitely see a reverse head and shoulder formation. Just going to plot that out for you out here. And I think the neckline should be somewhere out here. under this candle. So it has not been triggered. I'm just putting it out there as a placeholder. It has not been triggered. So we'll have to see whether it gets triggered or not. If it gets triggered, then I'll plot the targets for ARCG. Vertex is up 0.32% after a big loss. Yesterday was a doji candle, indecision, almost equidistant wicks on both sides. So today we are taking a definitive step upwards. So that's a positive news. And hopefully we are able to maintain that momentum. Ginkgo Bioworks is up 1.81%, but it's definitely totally bearish for me. And I'm thinking that the next support is going to be 11.50. Right now we are at 11.80. There's a gap fill to be done out here, a very small gap fill, and that can happen. And once that gap fill has happened, then we have some amount of optimism that we may bounce back, especially because market sentiment is at the bottom, MACD is wildly bearish, and momentum is below average. So we could be in due for a little dead cat bounce out there. Let us look at Precision, which is down 0.77%, not at all good. Eli Lilly is up 1.38%. It has already confirmed the support of the top of this parallel channel. It has done that in the past. The trick is to see if we can get any more bullish symbols out here and start plotting our way upwards to create a bull channel and keep on moving upwards. So Eli Lilly, well done. Now next I want to look at Ultragenics, which has lost big time, and they have got their earnings which came out yesterday. They were below the expectations for earnings by 46.69%, and their revenue was below expectation by 4.13%, as a result of which they have lost a whole lot of value. I have Ultragenics in my portfolio because I still believe this company has got the ability to turn things around. I have yet to read their annual report, which I'll do maybe today or tomorrow, but I'm not selling my Ultragenics as yet. It still has a diagonal line of support, which will perform support today at 31.85. And friends, remember, I have this bad habit of not booking my losses. So that's been haunting me. RKT is starting to build a little bit of a base out here. I'm enthused by it, but the market sentiment is still bearish. It needs to improve a little bit. And also momentum has to go above average. Till then, I would say that we are still under the influence of this topping tail out here. And there are a whole lot of topping tails before that. Now, if I look at Pfizer, which I think is a good bet going forward, it's up 0.74% in pre-market trades. Yesterday, there was a lot of bullishness, but it got pushed down. But it is consolidating a lot. So I think its fall has been arrested a little bit. And it's doing all the right things to boost its pipeline. And it has taken over a few companies. I did a video on this recently. I'm a little bit bullish on this. Now, let's go on from here to currencies. And in currencies, I want to look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin is getting a little bit of support at 101,099, which is what I said yesterday that it will get support at. It went down and then it was pushed back up again. Will this support hold is a big question. If this support doesn't hold, then what is the next support? Well, the next support is going to be out here. It's going to be at 97,144. And the question is, will that actually happen? Yes, I think we can definitely touch 97,189. Once we break the psychological 100,000 level, I think we are definitely game for 97,144. Overall sentiment is negative. There was a crypto haste also. So things are not looking that great in the crypto world right now. Ethereum was where there was that hacking which stole a lot of billions of dollars worth of Ethereum. Since then, Ethereum has recovered a little bit, but it has definitely taken a huge blow, and it's not the same again. XRP USD is up 2.08%, trying to break through this diagonal line of resistance, which happens to be today at around 2.25, and right now we are at 2.25. So if we break above this, then the next order of business would be to confirm above that, so that this line will continue to give us support. We'll talk about that tomorrow. Now, having said that, I think I'm still a fan for gold. So I'm just going to go shortly to gold, a little bit to gold. And I would say that one of the reasons why I'm still bullish on gold is because there is going to be a lot of currency printing. When currency printing happens, hard asset becomes much more valuable. And in hard assets, I would say you could put housing, but housing may not retain as much value because housing price is also dependent on salaries of the people and their ability to qualify for a mortgage. However, housing still retains a whole lot of value in real terms. The next thing that could hold value would be stocks, because the stock prices are likely to go up because there is now more dollars chasing the same number of stocks. But then again, they'll be tempered by their earnings, and if their earnings go down, then the PE ratios will start dictating their value. However, when it comes to gold, there is no counterparty risk, and gold is limited in number, and there is certain amount that can be produced, not more than that. And many of it is sitting in the central bank vaults and not directly available for people to buy. So I'm thinking that if more currency is printed by US, other countries will also do that. So overall, the price of gold in the long run should go up. That is my calculation. I am dollar cost averaging into gold. I bought my first tranche already. My second tranche will come when we touch 3,887. That's my thought process. I'd like to hear from you guys what you think. So that was my summary for the day, my friends. And if you have any stock that you want me to do a quick analysis on, I can do that, or else I'm off to have my breakfast. And thanks for joining 8765 as well as a hot dog. And I'll catch up with you again soon. Bye for now. And by the way, don't forget to check out our Substack. There's a lot of articles out there, and also the other videos that I release every once in a while. Bye for now.